kind of what you expected this year, man? Like you're balling out. Like fans love you. Like coaches talk you up. Is this what you expect? We would have said 7 games in the season, Cade. This is going to be how it is. Is this kind of what you expected?
No. I mean, I really tried to come in here without any expectations, as hard as that is. No, I would not say I expected this whatsoever. But it's nice. It's nice to play, really showcase what you can do. And it's nice to have opportunities and teammates really give me a chance to do it.
You walk us through your hurdle?
Okay, I don't know. To be honest, I did pull back my high school bag of tricks. That was really about it. People trying to smoke my kneecaps, so I got to figure out a way to get away from them.
So instinct just took over.
That's a result of you getting put through your head a couple times this
Yeah,
year?
I just kind of, when you run the ball in high school enough, and guys just try.
Cody Simon from the far right.
I mean, that's where they're going to tackle you low, so all you can do is get over top of that.
Is this week different? I know it's not Michigan. Penn State is a special game, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is super. I mean, it's very important. I mean, very good environment going up there to play these guys. So, I mean, we try and approach every week like it's the national championship game. So we're still going to prepare the same way we did. But, I mean, we're just going to take it step by step here and see.
What stands out to you about the Penn State secondary? You got some really good, individual guys. Anyone that stands out in particular for you and what you've seen?
They got, Joy Porter's a good player, long, athletic, just tough-nosed people. So we're excited to go back and compete with a good team.
Isn't it funny that, not funny, haha necessarily, but you're going to have Joey Porter, son of a legend, going against Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe, son of a legend. It's kind of like something, if you weren't in the game, you'd like to watch, isn't it? I mean, okay?
Yeah,
those kind of showdowns?
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes watching good players and good players, so it'll be a good ball game and a bunch of good athletes up there, so yeah, excited.
The video you've seen, what jumps out at you just about Joey Porter Jr.? I mean, I know you've seen it a little bit and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just a good, long, physical corner. I mean, we got a good physical corner that can run and play press man like that. I mean, it's a luxury to have on the defensive side of the ball.
The scouting report on them is they have maybe the best overall secondary in the Big Ten. I'm sure, the argument we made, maybe y'all do. But you know where I'm going. Best maybe y'all face this year, but up front, well, we all know the Michigan game. They gave up buku yards rushing and stuff. What do you see when you look at their defense?
Like I said earlier, they're tough, they're long. They got a lot of good athletes over there, but we're excited for what we got here. We know what we got going on. We're really excited to get up there and play these guys.
When you play a team like Penn State, that they can always play you guys tough. They're not intimidated by the brand of Ohio State. How much did that just change the prep or the mindset heading into a game where you remember that, in your stadium a year ago, they played you real tough?
Right. It's a good ball club. Any team that's got good athletes, good ball club, and they're confident in what they got. But just like we are, we're confident we got. We're confident people we got rolling with us up there. So we just can't wait to get there and play.
You ever think about how different life could have been for you? Like, that was school number 2 pretty much on the list for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably still be playing defense. And, who the hell knows?
What's it like playing in a Ryan Day offense, especially kind of the evolved Ryan Day offense? It's been explosive since you've been here. I know you've been bouncing back and forth between linebacker and tight end. Now you found a home at tight end. But what's it like playing for a Ryan Day offense, especially one that now is involved?
It's awesome. That's the guru of all football, I think, in my mind. Probably the smartest brain I've been around as far as the offense side of football. Because when it happened before it happened, he's a super intelligent guy. Puts us in really good spots to make plays. And when you put good athletes in spots to make plays, the results what you're getting.
And the tight end room is strong overall. Obviously you being the starter, but with Mitch and G, some of the other guys, especially Mitch and G just behind you. Strong tight end room overall.
Oh yeah, we're good friends in there. It's just a good group of guys in there. Like I said earlier, you get a good group of guys put together, you play hard, all for the same cause. You're gonna have a good team.
All right, thanks, Cade.
Cool. Thanks, Cade.
Going to get those reps and just a chance to get out there and hit people.
Really just any chance to get on the field is really what I'm looking for. I don't really like watching from the sidelines. I like just trying to do anything I can to help the team out. So if that's where they find me having most success right now, then that's where I want to be, and just to help the team, honestly.
Is that an area you guys are concerned about? You guys have given up more 30-yard returns this year than I think almost anyone in the country, which is not ideal. It's not a position that a lot of teams don't even return kicks anymore. Is that something that's a heightened alert as you prepare for a returner like Singleton this week?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we always just take every special team seriously, every game. It's not just one game or the other, but I feel like they definitely want to try to find the right people to get down there and make the plays and just to get the best, win the field position battle. So really just, I mean, if they call for me, then I'm going to give them all I got to get down there and try to get the ball carried down.
What kind of transition has it been like for you to go from being a guy who was playing defensive tackle a year ago to now running down the field on kickoffs?
Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't done a kickoff since like 8th grade, so really just getting down there to do it really excited me a lot and just got me a lot of adrenaline pumping before it. But I love it. I love running. I love just being able to hit people.
When did you maybe kind of realize, or the coaches kind of realize that you were a guy who could contribute in that area?
Really just trying to show off my speed and practice, really just trying to run to the ball, trying to get everywhere as fast as I can, and I feel like it's really starting to pay off and just doing as much as I can.
Just on the defensive side of things, you've gotten into the games, you've gotten a chance to show that side of what you want to do. How has that been in your mind, and where do you think you can still grow?
I mean, honestly, I'm very blessed to be able to keep playing in all these games. I mean, I feel like I've gotten a lot of reps that I feel like a lot of players around the country haven't gotten as a freshman. So, I mean, I'm beyond blessed to have them and just to be able to see all these different teams and see all the different schemes and just get ready for my next seasons here, really.
Did it take you time to become okay with, look, it may not be till late in the game when I get in, and I have to work into that bigger role?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big change from high school, from starting and playing almost every snap of the game. But, I mean, after you kind of realize it and kind of realize what you're getting into, you kind of appreciate it more, and you kind of don't ever take a rep off, I feel like, and you kind of just go as hard as you can. I like how to play like that.
It was like a year ago at this time, you had not made a decision yet about college, or you just did. You were planning on waiting to enroll in June. You decided in the next 4 weeks, you know, I got to just enroll early. Mm-hmm. Are you looking back, like, how happy are you that you made that decision?
I feel like, this is definitely the greatest decision I've ever made. I feel like I've benefited every aspect of my life off of it, and I mean, I just couldn't be more happy.
What caused the hesitancy at first that you weren't sure you wanted to enroll early?
Really, COVID backed me up a lot, just not to be able to get anywhere or see these new colleges or these new experiences, really. So I never really got to see all that. So I was trying to cram it all in at the little amount of time that I had at the end of the season, which really didn't really help at all. But I mean, I always had Ohio State as kind of just that front runner in the back of my head, kind of telling me every time I'd go to see a new school or a new experience.
When you made that decision, were these the kind of games that you were thinking about playing in?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love all the excitement. I love all the fans yelling at you. I love everything.
How, just to go to Penn State for the first time, only your second road game, kind of what's your preparation like for that? How do you kind of get yourself in that mindset?
I mean, really just staying the course, talking to all my players, trying to see how that feels, and then kind of getting that feel out in practice with the crowd noise and everything kind of helps. And really just looking up on your older peers and just kind of relaying back off them and see what they have to tell you, really is what I look off of.
What have you guys been doing in practice to kind of prepare for that?
Really just kind of learning your position, like doing your job every play no matter what, and just not letting all the outside distractions get to you, and which I feel like that can definitely get in a lot of players' heads when they're playing out there, just seeing everything around you, but just locking in really is the one aspect I want to make sure I focus on.
Does piping in crowd noise in practice actually matter at all when you go play on the road?
I mean, I feel like sometimes it does because you don't really see that flip side against you. So now that you feel it in practice, you kind of get a little hint of it.
I mean, just different words.
Yeah.
A little less R-rated. What's been the biggest adjustment to your game as a pass rusher since being here in January, working with Larry Johnson, watching the way JT and Zach and all these other guys do their stuff? Where have you seen the most growth?
Really just kind of like diagnosing my pass rush. I didn't really know all the little things that went into a pass rush or right off your first step. So really just kind of learning myself, learning my body, how many steps I need to take to do a power step or how many steps I need to take to do a speed step. So really just kind of learning myself as a player really helped me out a lot.
Is there an offensive tackle here, obviously a pretty good group of offensive linemen, that you like practicing against or that you feel like you have a winning streak against?
I wouldn't say I have a winning streak against any of them, but I mean, I feel like going against Josh Fryer every day, he has the power and everything behind him that really kind of gets me stumped a little bit sometimes and kind of gets me working a little bit more, I feel like.
With as much as you have been playing this year, is it hard not to think ahead of the next step and when you could start playing an even bigger role?
I mean, yeah, you have that happen. Sometimes it goes through your head or something, but I really just try to cancel all that noise out and just focus in on what I can do right now to make myself better right now, and then kind of just keep building off day by day and just getting better as a player.
Caden, do you feel different? You felt even in, it's one thing to go from spring practice to now.
Mm-hmm.
You can obviously say you feel different, but from September 3rd, first week of game prep to now, how different do you feel about the way you can play?
I feel like I've definitely got my movements controlled, like for my body. I know how I need to move, how I need to get there, how I need to do everything. So really just executing everything now and just learning myself. I've learned so much about my body that I feel like I haven't. Coach Jay just with my pass rushes, and it's crazy.
Everybody talks about the speed of the game. Isn't that different for everybody?
Yeah.
And do you feel like, was there a moment in a game when you got in, whether that was an opportunity or when you were starting to get pushed for more playing time? Was there a moment where you thought like, okay, this is slowing down for me. I don't have to process as much?
Yeah, definitely. Once you start getting all the defenses figured out and you start feeling comfortable out there, once you start getting that comfortable stage, I feel like that's when you definitely start seeing the game slow down a lot and you start reading it a lot faster and you can start making more plays, I feel like, out there.
How was the weight room transition? Because we hear about Coach Mick's workouts and everything. I imagine that was a step up from what you were doing in high school.
Yeah. I mean, really, my high school coach I feel like he was one of the best high school strength coaches I had, really. So he helped me out a lot. I did a lot of the lifts that Coach Mick had doing in there. So I feel like I had a next step against everybody else coming in. But definitely Coach Mick's lifts definitely get you feeling like you're ready to play at the next level.
This may sound like an odd question, but the fourth down tackle you made against Iowa, you kind of army crawled off the punter and did this whole celebration. What's going through your head in that moment?
Oh, that's all just in the moment. I couldn't tell you what's going on through my head right there. I'm just trying to have fun.
Well, how did the emotion of making that play feel, though?
Really just seeing it all throughout the week, knowing that's my job, knowing that that's what I got to do, and just seeing it over and over again at night, just thinking about it, what could happen, and then it actually happening, which you wouldn't really think would happen. And then it really just makes you really excited to do all that.
The play was kind of hilarious. You watch back over it, like one of you, I don't remember which one of you jumped up to try to what's going through your head? You see that guy start to run at you, and you're like, he's supposed to punt the ball.
Yeah, when I saw him, he just picked it back up like he was going to pass it. So I was looking at him like, you about to pass it? And then he started running with it again. I was like, all right, so I just got to go get him down. And then thankfully that's what it was.
Was it as funny watching it back over for you as
it
was for us?
It was really funny.
There's quite a few guys who've been playing quite a bit on special teams, Kai and CJ and Sonny. Just what are you seeing from some of the other freshmen stepping up on special teams?
I mean, all of us really are just trying to focus in on our job and really just trying to help out to help the team, really. So I feel like all of us just focusing in on our assignments, really, and just trying to do the best that we can.
Caden, I'm sure you've probably been asked this about 75 times. I'm sorry, I'm waiting for the party here, but when you said, I'm going to go play football for Ohio State, did you envision, like, was it a goal that not only am I going to go play, but I'm going to play and I'm going to get some fairly significant time as a freshman my first year there in Columbus?
I mean, yeah, it's beyond a blessing, like I said, to these guys, but really just being able to do all that, you really don't see many freshmen out here getting these reps in the fourth quarter or any of the games. So really just having the blessing of having a great team that gets on teams early, gives me a chance to get out there and show my skills off is definitely a blessing.
Joey Porter this summer, he's a real good dude. Excited to go compete against him again. And number 4 is a great player. Along with the safeties 2-0, 25. In the box, they're pretty good as well. So just excited to get to have another challenge like that is really exciting for me because it's my first time going up there with fans. So I'm excited to play up there and I'm looking forward to it.
CJ, did you sense any frustration from Jackson on Saturday that you could tell that he wanted to be out there and go play a little bit more in the second quarter, or just whether it was a pitch count or whatever? What's he been like? I'm just about better than anybody.
Yeah, me and him are really close. I don't want to really disclose his personal information and how he feels, but I could imagine that it's not good. I mean, I talk to him every day, so. But it's not my place to tell his business. So he'll be okay though. He understands that God's working his life in ways that no one else can understand, at least here on earth. So God has a plan for his life that no one else can know, and maybe he's protecting him from something bigger that we don't know about. So that's kind of like the message I've been giving him is just you don't know what God's plan is, so just trust him and understand that everything will take care of itself. It'll be okay.
Hey CJ, it's not often you see a defense come in and say we're going to try and stop the run against Ohio State and make CJ Stroud beat us with the pass. That's kind of what Iowa did. You guys adjusted to that well, especially in the second half. Can you get into that a little bit, how they kind of challenged you and then how you stepped up there?
Yeah, definitely it was a challenging game, turning the ball over that early, and then kind of really couldn't get a rhythm because we were so up close to the score zone and in the red zone, so not a lot of room down there, so didn't have a lot of our plays. But defense, they showed up and showed out. I think that's why we won the game, of course, but like you said, they did a really good job with just kind of stopping our runs and making it physical down there. So my number was called to make plays, and I feel like I did such when my number was called. And of course, I made a couple bad mistakes, but nothing that hindered us from not winning. So I was happy with the win. Of course, always can get better. It's never one game where I look at myself and be like, man, you played perfect. So. And I appreciate the expectations of that, and I'm trying to live up to that, but I will never. So I'm just trying to lead my team to victory and do as best as I can and make sure that my brothers know I'm there for them.
Overall, how do you feel about the running game? Like, obviously, you guys are a lot more balanced than you were last year. How do you feel about the running game?
I think we're great at all aspects for offense. Now, could we be better in every aspect? Yes. I definitely think that we're the type of offense to wherever the defense wants to play us, we can dominate in other ways. So that they want to take away the run game, we can throw the ball. If they want to take away the pass game, like the Rutgers game, mine went for 5 touchdowns. So like it's just like you pick your poison type of thing, I feel. So not saying that other defenses aren't good enough to stop both. It's just I have that much trust and faith in my guys to make plays.
Has anybody asked you about the Penn State secondary yet? I just walked up here a minute ago.
Yeah, I was talking about Joey Porter. Met him over the summer. He's a really good player. I think the best DB in college football, other than the guys we have on my team. So, and then number 4, I'm butchering his name, but he's a really good corner as well. The safeties are really good. 2-0, 25 the nickel, and then they kind of rotate the nickel a little bit. So, and then 23, he's a hell of a player. Along with 16, which I know him personally too. He's a real good dude. So I'm looking forward to going up there and playing against them guys.
Yeah. And when somebody's got a great secondary, what is it? I mean, obviously we've got some great athletes, going on. But what is it about the way they play that makes them special? CJ.
I mean, they're really long and lanky. They have good length to them when it comes to being an impressive man. On film, it's been tough for a lot of people to get open with that. They do a good job with being physical off the line and not just letting you just run. So definitely things that are good things for DBs to take advantage of. So we got to do our part on making sure that we just run clean and push routes and try to great body language, but I got to be on time with the throws as well because they do take advantage of the quarterback not being on time.
So Marvin and Emeka and Julian, others, but do they buy into this kind of like challenge? You know what I mean? I mean, do you get even more hyped on a week like this?
We approach every week the same. I mean, we know this is more of a matchup game to where we're playing a team that is just as equally as good as us. So we're always looking forward to playing any given Saturday because we're blessed to be out there. I don't take, at least on my part, I don't take any play, any game lighter than the next because there's people who get up in the morning and can't walk. So I'm gonna take advantage of everything that I can because I'm blessed to get up and run and play a sport and have millions of people watch. So I definitely think my teammates take that approach as well.
Where did you meet Joey?
NCAA college kind of seminar up in Indy. It was a combine, but the NCAA does a thing for the players to come up and learn about. We met with the NFLPA. We met about they asked us like some things in school that they can help us with and make it easier. Just kind of like a little outreach for the players to talk to the NCAA.
CJ, Mike Jursich, what do you remember about affected from your relationship with him at times? Do you have a relationship with him?
No, I don't have a relationship with Coach Yosich anymore. But I have a ton of respect for that guy. Definitely, you can tell he's turned that offense around over at Penn State, and I definitely think that he is a great offensive mind. Even when he was recruiting me, that's something that he pitched to me, was just how he plays a part into the offense at Ohio State. Now he's at Penn State. So, tons of respect for him and his family. Went to his home, met his wife, his kids, great family. So hopefully after the game, I'll maybe get to see him and say hello. I definitely have a lot of respect for him.
CJ, did they do much different defensively, the different coordinator than they prepared for last year? Are there any similarities, differences?
Yeah, it's a little different. I don't want to get into all the details of how I've been breaking them down, but it's some similarities because they're so good on the outside, so they're gonna run man. But there is some differences in the box and how they kind of have a system as defense. So,
hey, if you weren't playing in this game, would you buy a ticket to watch Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Joey Porter Jr.?
Did they play each other?
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Did their dads play each other?
Yeah, I'm sure they probably did. Yeah, at some point. Yeah.
I mean,
it's interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, but Marvin is his own person, and I'm pretty sure Joey is as well. Like, they don't want to live off their dad's legacy, and they haven't. They've been dominant with or without, and I'm pretty sure they respect. Of course, they respect their fathers, but I'm pretty sure they probably want to get away from it a little bit as well.
Yeah, but they're both talented as well, like you were just talking about.
Right.
Right now, is Marvin? Explain to somebody who hasn't maybe never seen him play, what just has jumped out about him, especially the last several weeks. I mean, you see him getting better every week.
He's been great ever since I met him. Like his freshman year when he came in, and we had Garrett and Chris and Jax already. He was shining just like them, if you ask me. Of course, with Mecca as well. And at that time we had J-Mo as well. He was shining as well. So like, I always knew Marv was gonna be special. It was 1 week fall camp last year where he like got hurt with his hammy or something, and you knew that Marv was out. So like, when he got back, you knew Marv was back. So like, that's how I kind of figured out, okay, Marv is a really good player, because I noticed when he was gone, and he wasn't even starting at the time. So
a couple more questions, folks.
Julian kind of develop the most as a ball player? Where's he coming from?
I think in the off season, he's done a great job with Coach Meek in the weight room and slimming down, but still creating muscle at the same time, and just becoming more lean and more agile. I feel he's more elusive than he was years prior. He wasn't anything close to stiff, but he was a big box cut type of route runner, where he was not running with speed out using his, because he's naturally fast, but he was kind of breaking down so hard that his body wasn't allowing him to run away from defenders. So he's worked on that tremendously, and you can tell he can run any route that we ask him to. If it's a corner, if it's a curl, if it's a slant, if it's anything, he can really run it. So I'm super happy for him, and I think he's going to keep being great.
He's caught a touchdown pass every game he's played in so far. About at what point this summer, this spring, or whatever, did you see that chemistry start to build with him?
Honestly, I've had a chemistry with Julian since since the opening. So, and he was really, honestly, I didn't come to Ohio State for no coach, no nothing. I came for Julian, Jackson, and G, and they were the ones who recruited me along with Legend. Of course, I miss Legend and Ryan and stuff like that. Everybody who left, and Mookie, but the guys that I built relationships with in recruiting, it's kind of like it's working out. So of course Jackson's hurt, so it hasn't worked out this year. But I think that's where we built our chemistry. But we used to come up here all the time and just run routes and just get a feel for each other, even when nobody was looking. So.
CJ, Julian said that he, like, just something happened after last season where just mentally he really bought in. And what have you seen out of him as far as, the last couple of seasons in comparison to where he's been at mentally this season and the growth he's shown? Does he seem like a different guy to you?
Yeah, he has. I think on the spiritual aspect, it's been, I think God showed him a little bit of humility and made him really sit down and realize, like, Julian, I have you here for a reason type of thing. And I know Julian isn't the biggest not a faith guy, but biggest religious guy, and I think he's coming into it though, just because God will sit you down if you don't realize what He has you in your position for. You know what I'm saying? So, and I went through that in my life where God sat me down and realized, CJ, you're gonna listen to me, or you're gonna just sit here. So, I definitely think that Julian has realized that, and I'm not saying that he wasn't a humble guy before. He wasn't a good dude. It's just he realized the work that he has to put in to be great, and he put in that work, and he's become way more. Honestly, he's been becoming a way more better teammate, and he's been put the young guys under his wing and make sure that they listen to him and things like that. So I think that's where Julian is coming along.
Great, CJ.
Sort of third linebacker opportunity. How did you think it went?
Definitely a lot of progress was made. We practice this stuff all throughout the year, but just during certain game plans and stuff like that comes up, and our coaches feel like that was the right move for that week, and I think it worked out pretty well, and we just got to build on it.
You guys ramped it up a little bit last week for that opponent.
Yeah, I mean, every team has different tendencies. We know the type of team Iowa is. They kind of run the ball a little bit more, so we feel like that was the right move, and each week is a new game plan, and we got to get right for the next game plan.
Cody, I talked to Tommy after the game a little bit about you, Tommy, and Steele kind of coming up together, now seeing the good and the bad of the defense, what you guys can do compared to last year. Putting that into thought, when you think back now where you three were as a unit together last year to now, how much progress have you seen?
Yeah, it definitely starts with our maturity. We were all kind of fresh out and didn't really have a whole lot of experience last year, but I mean, other than a few bad performances, but it really kind of scarred us. So we've made it an emphasis to, like, in the offseason, to not let that happen again. And so, I mean, right now we're just working as hard as we can and just trying to make sure everything we do is perfect, and every little detail we can correct is corrected.
You three together, is it a tight little group there between you, Tommy, and Steele? Are you three pretty close?
Yeah, I mean, they're one of my closest friends on the team, and they're even closer together. But like, the way they play, they motivate everybody else in the field, and I stay next to them and stay on their hip, and when they do well, that means I'm doing well, and when I do well, that means they're doing well. So everything that we do is all as a team, as a brotherhood.
You asked about the three linebacker look and preparing for it, but was it just kind of fun to be out there, three linebackers again, being able to do it again with those two?
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I definitely miss those times last year, but like, again, it's whoever's on the field we have ultimate trust in who's out there. So, whether it's me, Steele, Tommy, or whoever goes out there, EA, we all have trust that they can go out and do the job, and I'm thankful for that because we put in the work in practice for that.
We've talked with running backs about getting in a rhythm of the game. Sometimes you need a handful of carries. In a game like last week, when you're kind of in and out, how does that affect your momentum, rhythm, or does it?
Yeah, I feel like it really just goes back to preparation. Like, during the week, you have to know that not every play is going to be the same, and not every personnel is going to be the same. So I just have to get that ready in my mind to just be ready at any point. And I appreciate my coaches for allowing me to be out there, because it's a tough task, but they trusted me, and I felt like I can get the job done for what they needed me to do, and I think it worked out.
On the sideline, is it just, hey, Cody, in for this play, Cody, come back? Is that kind of the communication, or are you aware ahead of time, hey, when we do these type of looks, or how does it all work?
Well, definitely being in tune with the game flow and knowing if it's a third and short or like I don't know, any type of whatever the situation was. But I always try to stay locked in, and my eyes are always on the field, and I obviously have to wait for their call, but whenever they call me, I have to be ready and go in there.
Cody, as somebody from the East Coast, as somebody who probably was growing up pretty familiar with Penn State football, is there any added intrigue, enthusiasm to play a game in that place? Understanding, football from its roots, and when you play in this part of the country, it's a pretty big deal to play there. What's your excitement level to just go see it?
I'm ultimately excited. My first time there was during COVID, so there were no fans there, so it's a completely different experience. But I'm definitely hyped up because it's around where I'm from. There's not Penn State's probably the biggest school out there, so it's just they just being ready to handle the emotions and the flow of the game and be able to be confident and go and play our hardest.
That was my next question. How do you go about doing that? Obviously, ebbs and flows, especially when you're playing defense. Crowd's a little quieter. You can probably still communicate at that point, so you actually get a little bit of a lift there in that regard. How do you go about handling stuff that is not the 11 men on the other side of the line? You know what I'm saying? Making it just a normal football game as best you can.
Yeah, I think it just always goes back to practice. No matter what happens, our coaches throw so many different looks at us and just make sure we're on our toes because if we're confident in what we see, there's nothing else that really matters. The crowd doesn't really matter. So for us, it's just being able to be locked in at all times during practice and letting it translate. And we spend all the time in meetings and watching film. So I think that's the key part about handling the extra stuff that's not involved with the 11 guys.
Probably wanted last week. What's your kind of diagnosis?
Well, I feel like we just didn't execute the way we wanted to. You know, there were some things that we felt like we just didn't play the way that we should. You know, credit to them, they're a very great defense. You know, they filled gaps well. Their D line was very physical. But at the end of the day, it's us against us, and we just didn't execute the way that we should have.
How much of a point of emphasis is the run game this week?
Well, I feel like the run game's a point of emphasis every week. You know, it isn't. We don't just turn it off week after week. You know, it's another week, another way to run the ball in an effective way. So we're just trying to get back to what we did before.
What happened in that play?
It was just a miscommunication on my part. You know, it was something that we worked all week, and I just didn't execute the way I should have.
Donovan, what's it take to kind of snap back that way? Just to kind of settle into the flow of it?
Well, it goes back to the brotherhood of this place. You know, after that happened, you know, I came off the sideline and everyone was like, "Yo, like we're good." Like early in the game, like you got this. Like try not to let this rattle you. So having the brothers next to me, telling me like, "Hey, like calm down, you're fine." So it was one of those things that I really appreciate the guys next to me for.
Did you feel like you needed that kind of encouragement?
I feel like it helps. You know, it isn't like it's like the silent treatment. They're more like, hey man, like we're all right. Just calm down.
How down were you after that play?
I mean, I certainly wasn't ecstatic about it, but it was just one of those things that you just had to, you know, register it, learn from it, and move on and play the next snap.
Donovan, you guys have been just rolling so well all season offensively. What was the first offensive line meeting like this week? We're looking at that film, kind of critiquing that game. Was it different vibe, different tone this week?
Well, it was more of a just seeing our mistakes and learning from it. You know, we put a lot of uncharacteristic things on film, so we just had to correct it. You know, because obviously it's a big week coming up, and so we just had to correct what we did, correct what we did wrong in practice, and just grow from it.
Donovan, just looking at Penn State's defensive line, what stands out to you when you watch them?
Well, they're a very physical group. You know, they're very fast. They fly around. It's going to be a tough challenge for the O-line, but you know, that's just one of those things about these type of games. You know, you just have to get after it.
To be making your first trip to Penn State, is that something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, you know, it's my first trip to Penn State, so I'm very excited.
Well, how do you kind of maybe psych yourself up for a big road game like this?
If you psych yourself up, you know, it's you turn it into something that it isn't. You know, they're a very, very talented team, very aggressive team. But at the end of the day, you just gotta play Ohio State football. You know.
Donovan, has the running game been figured out? Do you think have defenses figured it out based on what Iowa was able to do? Do you think?
I just felt like we just weren't able to execute during that game. So it's just trying to get back on the film, seeing what we did wrong, and just fix it during the week, this week rather.
What's it like watching that film?
I mean, watching the film, there was obviously a lot of stuff we didn't do to the standard that we thought we should have done. So it's just trying to fix it and fix it fast.
Does it make you feel better that there are answers at least? Like, is that a thing where it's like you've seen what went wrong, you have the answers? Is that better than we have no answers for this? I guess. Do you feel like you have the answers?
Right. You know, we felt like we had solutions. It's just up to us to execute it.
And all of what Michigan did at Penn State, at the line, the way they ran the ball, that you guys just have to stick to what you're doing and just
and look at that season?
No, we're focusing on Penn State right now. You know, we're just focusing on what we can do to put our guys in the best position to succeed.
Well, I guess I'll rephrase that in the sense of, like, do you look at what Michigan succeeded at and kind of think of, like, this is what Penn State struggled with in this game, but maybe this is some of the ways that we can have success with it?
Well, it's no, we saw what they did, but it's more of what we can do as Ohio State. You know, obviously we saw what they did, but that's what they did. We're trying to see what we can do.
Last question.
When the running
Last
game
question.
didn't get off to the start that you wanted to, and even there were some interceptions from C.J. Stroud at the start, and you were still able to put up 54 at the end of the day. What do you think the message was that Ohio State was able to send to teams around the country, that we may start out slow, but we'll still put up big numbers against you guys?
Well, I think it just showed our team's resilience. So obviously there were a lot of plays across the board that we didn't execute to the standard that we thought, but we just kept fighting, kept digging, and we just eventually found the end zone. But it's just a lot of stuff to clean up on.
All right. Thanks, Donovan.
Jack position, the play is working out for you. Just what do you feel like as an athlete, this position, this scheme is allowing you to do this year?
I would say this year as an athlete, it allows me to show my versatility. It allows me to show that I could drop in coverage. It allows me to show I could play off the edge, play in the box. It just shows that one player's versatility and not shows that I'm just one-dimensional.
You're one of the 50th guy we've asked this question, but it just seems like the way Knowles instructs us, everybody is on the attack. Just compare the way you think on a football field now to the way you might have been thinking a year ago. How much has that changed just because of the way that Coach Knowles schemes us up and teaches you guys?
I'll say now we're just on attack, trying to play offense on defense, and everything is right now. He wants to take out the thinking of it and just do your job.
Javontae, can you feel it on the field when you guys are, like you said, in attack mode, playing, dominating like you did against Iowa?
Yes, you can feel it tremendously because once the whole defense is going and everyone has energy, then it's just like a big wave, and everybody looking at each other like, let's go.
How much does an early turnover like Tanner got, or maybe an early sack, start that feeling for you guys?
Well, I mean, that play right there, it really sparked it early. It's it showed all right, we're coming out the gates fast, and now let's continue to roll with it.
Do you have a preference, 2-point, 3-point stance, where you prefer playing out of?
No, I don't have a preference.
What are the differences between them for you? Do you feel a difference in how you move, how you are reading and reacting to a play?
I would say in a 2-point stance, I could see, when I'm standing up, I could see more versus out of a 3. But then out of a 3-point stance, you're also probably able to get off the ball faster.
Is it challenging balancing both that defensive end role and that jack role?
Not really. It's not really that challenging. Really, what Coach Knowles tries to do is he tries to be the best teacher he can be. So when we're in practice, we're asking questions. He's questioning us on everything, just trying to make sure we know what to do in any type of situation.
Do you have to go between different position groups to kind of learn those different positions?
No, not at all.
Javontae, what are meetings like this year compared to last year in that defensive line room where you guys, clearly, Zach seems to be playing on a different level. You do too. You know what I mean? What are those meetings like now? Are they fun? How have they changed with Coach Johnson?
I'd say the meeting room, what had changed about it is it's more leadership. Yeah, we have some young guys, but they have playing time under their belt, and you can see it. So then now when every man in the room knows what they're supposed to be doing, players are able to coach players and see what they're not seeing and what they're missing, and it just helps out with Coach Jay, and he's giving the overall. So it's everybody just pushing each other.
You kind of touched on this a bit ago, but you feel like now when you're out there on the field, y'all are having an effect. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying on the offensive line, the quarterback, et cetera. How does that kind of show up as the game goes on?
I would say as long as we keep coming and keep fighting and pushing, that someone's got to know, all right, they're not going to let up. It's just I would say this year it's just we've been like a pack and just relentless.
Yeah. Who's the leader of that pack? I mean, in terms of relentless, without naming yourself.
When it comes to it, I would say there really is no like direct leader, because we all know what we have to do, and if one person's letting up or slacking a little bit, then it's the whole group looking like, come on man, let's go, we gotta go.
Coach Nichols said earlier this week that when he got here, when Teron Vincent bought in, then it felt like a lot of the rest of the defense kind of came along with that. Why does he have that sort of influence?
I say I love Teron Vincent. That's my guy. Just a lot of juice. Teron Vincent's a guy that may not get a lot of praise on the tape or anything, but when you're really watching it and you're seeing what he's doing, it's like yeah.
Are you seeing more of that this year? That influence, that impact he has on the game?
I would say we've seen it last year too, but then now that he's there, yes.
Javontae, for you personally, is this how would you describe it? Is this like a breakout year for you? You have 3 sacks, 5th-year senior. How would you describe it for you personally so far? Is this like a breakout year for you?
I mean, I really don't look at it that way. Since I've been here the whole time, if things not going well, just keep my head down, keep working, and keep going. I just know that God has a plan, and I'm just going to follow the plan. What's for me. If things go bad, you just got to keep following the light, no matter what.
How would you describe a Jim Knowles defense, playing in a Jim Knowles defense? I know there's a lot of facets to it, but how would you describe it?
I'd say a Jim Knowles defense is strategic, fast, and physical. A lot of downhill.
Do you think there's something that's clicked for you this year that's maybe enabled you to be more productive than in years past?
I think I'm just more comfortable in putting in more work when it comes to watching film and analyzing everything and breaking down everything is coming more faster now.
Javontae, when Jim came in, slaps the playbook down and you start looking through it and you're seeing the differences between his playbook and what you guys were running last year, would you have thought, okay, when we're going into the Penn State game, we're going to be the number 2 rated defense in the country?
I mean, we see what he was able to do last year with Oklahoma State, and bringing him in, where we're like, well, hopefully, not even hopefully, well, this is what it's going to be for us. I mean, we have the athletes, we got the talent, we have the skill. Now let's all put it together, and let's shoot to be number 1.
Is there anybody that maybe is just a little shocked that you guys are in the position that you're in heading into the Penn State game, or is this like completely as expected?
I feel like going through spring ball and the summers and all the work we've put in, I feel like this is expected.
You know, y'all, a lot of people think this is, I mean, you look on paper, this may be the best offense y'all have gone against yet this season and stuff. Or is there any worry about maybe having some, not faults, but maybe being a little overconfident based on how things went like last week, for example, against the worst defense in major college football right now, Iowa and stuff. Where do you think y'all's level-headedness is, Javontae, about this challenge on Saturday?
Can you ask the question one more time?
Well, in other words, y'all haven't played against a really great defense, at least on paper, or offense, at least on paper, so far this year. If you look at the stats, Penn State's right in there in like the top 40 or whatever of the country and stuff. Is this the biggest challenge y'all faced yet, you think, about this revamped defense?
I would say when it comes to it, we prepare everyone like they're the best offense we've seen. It really doesn't matter who it is, because at the end of the day, we have to show up and we have to play. So if we're on everything like we're supposed to be, then it's going to go the way it should.
Were you at the Penn State game and traveling for that game?
No, I missed that one.
Going back to the jack position really quick, there's coverage responsibilities tied into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had to drop into coverage at all this year? I haven't gotten to watch you ever play, obviously. Is that something you've had to do? What is that something you've done before?
Like dropping coverage?
Yeah,
Yes.
in previous seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm.
When did you do that?
I know in our previous defenses, we've always had a couple of packages where it ended up.
Do you is that something you enjoy doing, something you feel you excel at, maybe being a surprise guy to drop into coverage, maybe confuse a quarterback?
I think so.
What are some of the challenges that come with that?
some of the challenges that come with it, I would just say it's really just all about how fast you read things. Like seeing if it's running past, what is the situation, who's in the boundary and all that. That's
You like that? We talked about it a little bit earlier. Do you like dropping back?
Yeah, I do, but I do like to get off the passer too.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of like a sweet and sour there a little bit.
Yeah.
Coach Knowles has said a couple times that there's more to this defense, and that you start working on things a couple weeks ahead of time, maybe before you get to the. So, how much excitement is there, I guess, for yourself and the rest of this defense about you're having this success, but there's like more to attack with that is coming that we haven't seen yet, people haven't, teams haven't seen.
I would say we do everything early, put everything in early so we can get a feel for it, like maybe summer, and then when it comes down to it, and you get into the season and whatever he feels like he wants to pull out and use, then it's not new. It's you have an experience at it, so when it's time to go, you can just be like, oh, I remember this. It's nothing.
Was it to Penn State maybe back off and realize that maybe you weren't never going to budge from that commitment?
I made it pretty clear at the beginning that once I committed that was kind of what I was going with, and I felt like it was my recruiting process. It was long and it was really stressful. It was hard on me and my family, and I felt like it was just time to make a decision, and this was the best decision for me. So at the time, I thought I made it pretty serious, and they never. I mean, they pushed every once in a while, but it was never like too extensive.
Obviously, because you are so close to that campus, there were probably a large portion of people who weren't happy with you making that decision, and now you're going back 3 years later. And are you kind of prepared for maybe you might hear about it a little bit from the fans when you're out there?
I mean, that's okay. Honestly, I'm trying to take it as a regular game, which it is really just another game for us. We got to go in prepared. I got to go in prepared and be myself. We got to be the Buckeyes. We got to be the team that we're striving to be, and we got to play our best game of the season.
You were there in 2020, but that was different when you were kind of in the background. You see nobody was in the stadium. Have you talked to maybe some of these younger guys like Marvin and Michael about what that experience is like? Just because at some point in your life you saw what a Penn State environment was like.
The coaches have really been driving it home. Like, it's going to be loud. Going into Penn State and winning the game is it's hard. It's a great environment there. Their fans are always into it from the start to the end. So we're going to have to be on our P's and Q's, whether it comes to our cadences, the penalties, everything of that nature.
Did you ever come close to actually going to Penn State when you were in the recruiting process?
I couldn't tell you that right now just because it was so long ago. Obviously, they were in probably my top 10, probably top 5 schools. It was almost home for me. It was right down the street. So, they were definitely high up on my list, but I couldn't tell you who I was really considering at that time.
Like growing up, were most people in your town Penn State fans?
Oh yeah, most definitely. The majority of where I'm from is Penn State fans. Yes, sir.
Do you know like a lot of people who go there, like guys on the team?
Yeah, no, I got a couple friends on the team. Some kids I played basketball with in AAU from the time I was in 2nd, 3rd grade up. So it's definitely going to be fun to go in there and play against some of my friends and some people that I've known for a long time.
You have a lot of family members asking you for tickets?
Just really my immediate family, just my mom and people that have been there for from the jump. So it's just pretty much them home catering.
You mentioned it was the hometown, kind of the closest school to you. Was it important for you to maybe go a little further from home? Like, how did that being close to home factor into your process when you were considering schools?
Honestly, being close to home was really one of the last things on my list that I was really concerned about. My family really made it up to me about making a decision for myself, and because I'm going to be the one that's going to live with that decision. So distance from home was never really a major factor. It was just finding the right fit and somewhere that I really felt at home.
Yeah, Julian, you're probably aware of the rumors were floating around about this time a year ago that you might be considering a transfer portal move back to there. I mean, did that ever come up? I mean, did you ever?
No.
Yeah. And what just told you that this was a place eventually was going to happen? What just kept telling you that?
That I was going to come here?
No, that this was a place where you were going to. I mean, you've had a hell of a last 5 or 6 weeks.
Honestly, I was just committed to the process, and it's something I didn't really embrace at first. And once I embraced that, and really took a deep dive into the brotherhood and really being invested in this program. You know, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. I'm around the best guys in the country, the best coaching staff in the country, strength staff in the country. The list goes on and on. So it was just somewhere I felt like I could really thrive as time went on.
Hey, these guys might have, some people think they have as good a secondary as there is in the Big Ten and maybe in the country. What is your take on those guys, just from what you've seen on video? Of course, Joey Porter Jr.
Oh yeah, no, they're definitely strong. They're definitely strong on the back end. So you know, we're definitely gonna have to play one of our best games. We're gonna have to go in, be physical, be confident, and like I said, we're gonna have to be on our P's and Q's in all aspects.
Julian, was there a specific moment where it kind of finally clicked for you and you started really officially buying into the brotherhood and all that kind of stuff?
I would say last year in the off season was just kind of a wake up call. It was like I want to continue to excel, and I feel like I haven't really maximized myself at this point. So it was just at that time, you know, I had talked to my family, talked to my friends, and I'm like, I'm really about to like really lock into this, and it was something I really had to buy into, and you know, make some sacrifices along the way, and you know, it's gone pretty well, but the sky's the limit. So you just gotta keep improving every aspect as a team and as an individual.
And if you didn't do something like that, I mean, if you weren't prepared to buy in, where do you think you'd be right now? Would you still be here? Would you have transferred, or what do you think?
Those are kind of a lot of what-if questions. I don't really have a genuine answer for you right now, especially like I said, they're big what-ifs. So I really don't want to think back to that time.
You were saying that last offseason you really locked in, like you had conversations with your family about it. So what about this past offseason maybe clicked for you and that's like why then?
You know, it was my second year going into my third year. Had a lot of injuries, a lot of ticky-tack stuff, a lot of bumps and bruises, and I felt like at first I didn't really embrace those injuries in the process, and then, you know, as time went on, I finally realized like that adversity was really carving me into the person that I wanted to be at the end, for the end goal. So I just had to embrace everything that I've been through and kind of wear it on my shoulder, and really just bring that chip in every single day.
So now you've scored a touchdown in every game. Can you just talk the chemistry you built with CJ very quickly? You know, when did that, like, not necessarily when you guys were down in Dallas, but when you guys got on campus, can you just kind of walk us through how you and him built the rapport that you have, that you just kind of clocked in there week 3 and immediately basically become a touchdown?
Yeah, well, like you said, it really did start in Dallas, and that's the truth. And then coming in freshman year, you know, we were coming in on off days, throwing, just getting everything ready. Obviously, I got some reps with him last year, and then you know, I was hurt last week of camp, so I missed the first 2 weeks. But, you know, all the way throughout, since the winter, spring ball, everything, you know, it was just building that chemistry with CJ. So it was really no love lost between us.
If you had to have a scout report on Julian Fleming, what would be the strengths that you would bring to this wide receiver and to this passing?
Oh man,
making you brag about yourself. So.
Yeah, I don't really love that question. I would definitely say I'm pretty tough on the outside. I feel like I'm a willing blocker. I could run a little bit. I don't know. I don't really want to go too in depth on myself. It's kind of a weird topic, but I would just say from a physicality standpoint, I would say that's what probably stand out the most to me.
What's it like now to be more involved down the field? First 2 years, a lot of short stuff. Now you're finally getting involved all over. What's that like?
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely something I enjoy. I love deep routes, and it's just something I always felt like I excelled at more than you know, shorter space stuff. But I feel like my game is coming along as a whole, and everything's kind of falling into place.
What's the key to that, to excelling down the field and tracking the ball?
It starts up front with our O-line, and you know, their protection and everything that they do, and then as well as having a consistent running game and getting those 4 to 5 yard gains every first down or every opportunity you get, and then that kind of just opens up the downfield.
We don't see a lot of 50-50 balls with this offense. Why is that?
You mean like jump balls?
Yeah, because you guys are open. Is that the reason?
I guess that a little bit. We got great route runners, but I feel like our scheme, we just come in with a great scheme, and our coaches put us in a place to be successful.
Julian, you caught the longest
last 2 questions.
What goes through your head when you see him unplug that thing from 50 yards or so?
Honestly, as soon as I called the play, I got super excited. But just running around and tracking the ball, it was funny. The ball was actually gone. It was in the sun, so it was kind of complicated. You know, you look up into the sun, they teach us catch the sun, so you're just looking in the sun, waiting for it to pop out, and it's not popping out, and it's not popping out, and then boom, it just falls right in my lap. And the Iowa dude had missed it. He was a fingertip away, so it was really almost a play that never even happened. But you know, it was just an awesome experience.
Do you want to call that luck, or do you want to take credit for it?
No, I'm not calling it luck. We, you know, we go through it. I mean, in the summer practices, just having to go through it and catch the sun and kind of building that into your skill set.
Are you surprised that that's CJ's longest touchdown pass?
Honestly,
it seems like he can throw the ball pretty far.
CJ can throw the ball very far. Yes, he can. I mean, I don't know if I'm surprised, but it was pretty cool to hear about.
Julian, nobody on this team has really played there at full throttle. You know, when you're there a couple years ago, nobody was in the building. You know it better than most people on this team. How have you tried to help educate your teammates on what it's like, how to handle it, the unique nature of it?
I haven't talked to about it like individually as much as I would have liked to, but I mean our coaches have really been drilling it since since the beginning of this week. It's definitely a hard place to go into and come out with the win. So we're gonna have to be prepared for everything, be prepared for the noise, and execute at the highest level that we have this season.
When you first went as a recruit, what stuck with you about that place?
The atmosphere. It's honestly it's an insane atmosphere, and it's loud all the time. And you really gotta. I mean, you can be right next to somebody and you're not even hear what they're saying. So it's definitely something that we're gonna have to be prepared for and execute, like I said, at the highest level we have this season.
Thank you, Julian. Thanks. Where does Catch the Sun come from? Who gave that? Who
Coach Hart.
Is that Coach Hartline saying Catch the Sun? Where's that come from?
Yeah, that's what he just always taught us. So I'm not really sure if it came from anybody before that, but that's what he's always taught us. So trust me.